So BEAU GESTE is first up on Saturday at Randwick. He's having his second start in a race after being a really impressive debut winner at Canterbury. He was a horse that had a really good run in the race, but he really was required to pull off a fast last furlong to win, and he did that with quite a lot of style about him. ALLERGIC is third up here in the Furious Stakes. The filly has done really well between runs. She's a narrow second in the Silver Shadow a couple of weeks ago. She looks like she's cleaned up nicely, tightened up a little bit for that run. There's no doubt she needs to improve a bit to be beating her opposition, but it's a good field and a good opportunity for us to measure up where she's got to so far this prep. ALLERGIC is going to run again at weight for age. He's not suited at weight for age because he's really a handicapper, but he'll be doing his best there, and hopefully if we inject him into the race nice and early before the turn, he can run well against some of these horses, and he's going to need to get up in distance to 1.25 miles soon after this run. Tally's second up in the 1700 metre race here and has trained on really nicely between starts. And 3 weeks ago, of course, his was a really solid return at Flemington over 7 furlongs. And he can run a good race first up, so hopefully he hasn't left too much there in that run, and he can continue that sort of good form. And from here on, he just sort of keeps finding more and more form as he gets closer to harder targets. Trekking runs second up here. He had a fairly light preparation to go into the Rosebud over 1100 metres first up. Getting Trekking down to Melbourne and running in a race like the McNeil here could be a good play, and I think that if he's able to just advance a little bit on his run in the Rosebud, he's certainly a player in this race, and he's a pretty exciting colt going forward. SOUCHEZ was probably in need of the run first up at Caulfield, where he had drawn wide and never really looked like he was going to map very well in a pretty tough race. So I think that he can improve now that he's dropped back in grade. He's up to 1400 metres, which is a distance that he really seems to have a liking for. TARQUIN's kicking off. He's not without a hope of running very well in this race first up. Realistically, we don't think that he could beat the stablemate, but he should be running well here, and he should be looking for further later on down the track.